Okay, inside joke. The reason why I go live every time I go live, the reason why I'm adjusting my mic is because I don't control StreamYard that well, and I don't know the shot that's going to put the footprint, the thumbnail on your possibly your Facebook page, maybe your YouTube page or your Twitter page, and it's going to make you want to go. Well, at least he's at a location. Maybe it's going to be a good show tonight. We're talking name, image, and likeness, and of course, that's the feud this week between one Nick Saban and one Jimbo Fisher. But I'm talking more about the root of the national name, image, and likeness, and NCAA just letting the Supreme Court rule, and every state's doing their thing. Now we're waiting for like 1,000 states to litigate this thing all the way out. Sounds like a lot of lawyers getting paid, and surprise, surprise, lawyers go to college. I just made that up, but anyway, talking name, image, and likeness. And I'm going to it's a Saturday, it's a weird time, but if you got comments, you come in here, we'll do those comments. And if you don't got comments, I'm going to automatically assume again that you're just loving that content so much. I'm down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill, right out here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge district of St. Petersburg, just across the street from Tropicana Field, and the home of tomorrow's Lightning watch party for Game 3, as the Bolts look to go up 3-0 over the Florida Panthers. It's a cup of Ray here from a Saturday down here at Ferg's Bar and Grill. Name, image, and likeness, Tom Brady overexposure, and whatever else you want to talk about here on Cup of Ray on Bucs Report. Hey, welcome back to Cup of Ray here on a Saturday morning out for world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. Do me a favor right now, guys, girls, please share the show. Even if it's what you're watching it tonight, Saturday night, you're out somewhere, maybe at a movie, waiting to go see a movie, maybe tomorrow morning with a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning, which is usually how this thing goes. Share the show so we can continue to grow. But yeah, I'm down here at Ferg's again. If you weren't, watch the Lightning beat the Panthers the other night. Last second goal, Cooch with just a no look. And I love the comparison made on the next day on radio is the Magic Johnson, right? Because all guys and girls, those of you who have been around, we remember, and we see today's NBA too, some of the smoothest plays, but that literally was what Magic Johnson did. Coming in, just, looking the other way and almost like some Globetrotter stuff. But Cooch throws it up in there. We score the goal. We go up 2-0 on the Florida Panthers coming home for Game 3. But again, Johnny Dean, I shared. Thank you, JD. I appreciate it. Johnny, what's your thoughts of name, image, and likeness? And if you want me to share the show and you want to jump in here, I'll take you that way too. I've also got another guest going to come in a little later, but let me tell you guys and girls why I asked that, because obviously the big brouhaha this week was, again, Nick Saban and Bama, right? If it's not Clemson or if it's Bama, that's why we root for Georgia. That's why we root for Cincinnati, who just had a phenomenal couple of seasons and made it to the bowl game. But the reason why I root is because, the fat do usually, the rich get richer, the fat get fatter. And that's what Bama, you got Nick Saban, who didn't want to go? I'd be a 17th string tight end on the Bama football team. But I talked funny the other day. My neighbor's walking his dog, and he comes over, and Tristan and I were throwing a football, and Tristan's working on making those catches, and he says, "No, put your hands together like this, and then make that basket," which is obvious, right? But sometimes you get off. That's why you're constantly practicing. And come to find out, he was on the taxi squad for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and actually was drafted by the Dolphins, but never played in the NFL. But the reason why I go there is because, the thing this week with Nick Saban, and he's battling, and he says stuff about Jimbo Fisher. And, of course, he drags Deion Sanders into it. I don't even know why you want to drag primetime into that son of a gun. And because Bama just going there was enough of a name. Going to a University of Florida, if you've got your legacy, or going to an FSU, or going to a Miami, as they're starting to buy the best. Starting to build that team down there, the Hurricanes, the U. Let's see here. Misador, what's up, Ray? What up, Ray? Thank you, Me. Good to see you here on a Saturday morning. Me says, NIL has seriously hit the kill shot on NCAA football as we know it. Thank you, Me. Always depend on you. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, because there's still those Hobart colleges. There's still those smaller states. There's still high schools. And that's why we cover here on a Sports Connection here down at Fergus with Mike Rickard and the boys, the Big O Oscars up there. Right now it's on the T going from 11 to 12 and then Sports Connection. Tampa Bay, St. Pete Sports Connection covering Pee-wees preps to pros. But so there's still those that big man on campus. You get through high school, you get to college, and you get that education, and it always was a drain, right? Athletes, by their very nature, that would get through and be able to show up and make those meetings and be in condition and be ready to play. Some fall by the wayside, but still do that scholastic thing, still get that college experience. But as the sports change, all college NCAA sports, well, I almost faux pas and said professional sports, which NCAA. But as the requirements became such for these programs to need this, television money and need this run, and now you've got legalized gambling, and as all that pool starts to come together, these students, it isn't like back in the day, like in the NFL when the guys could show up 6 weeks before camp, work that beer belly off, and get in shape and hit the ground running. Now it's 24/7 rehabbing, healing, lifting. It's a job, and I've said all along, the one thing that'll really piss me off the most, and by piss me off, I mean completely, and can share the show, please, I appreciate it, is that if these athletes, be it volleyball, softball, baseball, football, hockey, pool polo, water polo, track and field, if they're being required to lose too much of that college experience, because we can debate whether it's a student athlete anymore, and basically that's what the NIL looks like, right? It looks like NFL free agency with no salary cap. That's exactly what the NIL is in football, which is probably why it pisses Nick Saban off so much, because it starts to climb into his pocket. Because for years, all the Alabama alumni had to do was throw that money into let's build into $100 million training facility. Let's build a new field. Let's get this and that, new dorms, make sure they eat right, and take care of our athletes, which we all agree is supposedly, but we knew they should have been paid. And I'm on a rant here, but that's what this show is about today. I want your comments. Let's see what Johnny Dean says about it. NIL. Johnny Dean says, I wouldn't call it a kill shot when teams like Cincy are showing up in the top 10. And Johnny, I get that, but that's more of a result of what's happening with there in Cincinnati. I wish I had a coach's name for a couple of years now, getting that program built. And those are the programs. That's why we always gravitated toward those. I always pose it's because we grew up Buccaneer fans, which you had to be an underdog. You had to root for the underdog 99.9% of the time, except for that 4-year stretch, that 3-year stretch, that worst to first. And then lately it's just been swimming in it. But not so much a kill shot. But here's what I'm saying is that the NCAA wiped their hands of it, let it go to the states. These athletes. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a problem. That stuff's got to work it out. It is for litigation. It is for people that are their pay grades well above mine. But the NIL issue, and that's why I wanted to talk with you guys and girls about that today, is I see both sides of it. I understand what Nick Saban's talking about. And it starts to drag us, talking about that kill shot me was talking about, start to drag us further and away from that NCAA, that college football experience, that, the big, whatever, everything about it. And it's becoming more, 24/7 professional, sports. I lost that thought. Anyway, so got another. Oh, Misador back in here. May says, by admitting these athletes are not student athletes and are actually athlete attendees, they have essentially become a minor league or an occupation. Yeah, it reminds me of when I won a couple $100 over a few Saturday nights in Shoot for Loot back in 1980 when I was captain of the bowling team. Yeah, that's right. For like a day. There was actually several of us that were really good. That we rotated the captainships, but won a couple $100 in a Saturday night Shoot for Loot, get the, call the orange head pin, hit a strike, win the pot. It's up to $52, whatever. And someone turned me in because they knew I was a high school athlete. So it's Florida State high school athlete. Lost my Joe Manerick. I always give him shout outs. Joe Manerick involved with the Rotarians and Bold, and was one of my secretaries of our leagues at Summer Lanes. Great guy. Father to one Joey Manerick, husband to one Pat Manerick. Went to bat for me and got my suspension down to 6 weeks. So before the season even started, I was able to get out there and actually compete. But I made $200 and I was a professional. That's also another argument or another conversation to have, is at what point they are professional athletes. And again, that's kind of what was demanded of them before this NIL, the training, be in the ice at 4:30, we got lifting at 7, then go to class and try to act like you're learning, and then be learning that playbook, be back at practice, go to practice, and afterwards, again, in the hot tub or the ice tub again at the end of practice, grab some food somewhere in between there, don't forget your homework. And now, well, yeah, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. There's no doubt about these players being paid, but when it comes to the name, image, and likeness, and what Nick Saban says versus what, and I love the reaction from Jimbo Fisher, although we remember that the shit program Jimbo Fisher left FSU, and I still don't know all the particulars on that. Maybe those y'all out there want to talk about that one after Jameis Winston as a freshman wins the Heisman and they win the championship, and all of a sudden 3 years later, Jimbo Fisher, or 4 years maybe, but Jimbo Fisher's gone, and that team, they couldn't have beat a USFL. I'm just kidding. Bandits did a great one last week. That was for JD. I'm just kidding with you, JD. Alex Schumber says, what's up, Ray? Alec, what up? Johnny, skipped one. Johnny Dean says agreed. And it's probably with his own comment, which was a predecessor to that. And it says kids who normally wait their turn with programs like Bama are now deciding to go where they can start sooner and get there. Because, it's always going to be that work in the private sector, or I started working for the government and working in computers in the government. And it's like private sector was that big hill shot, a little bit higher, but you had to, you weren't guaranteed that. The government was slow and steady wins the race. And it's also buried the lead. One of the best places the best place I'll ever work in my entire life. Not taking away from my other jobs. Not taking away from Seminole Lanes and what I did there over the years. That's 2 bowling references. Give me another bowling reference somewhere in your guys and girls with the comments, and share the show, please. Again, I'll be on at 1:30 with Mike Rickard of the Tampa St. Petersburg Sports Connection. So make sure you join us. I forget what stations it's on, but it's available online. That's kind of how we do that. Misador says scholarship athletes were prohibited from having a source of income at one time. Except for that small stipend, right? Like, a couple, enough for a meal or a lunch or this or that. But, show up and wash cars for 10 hours in a car wash. And, the boosters always found a way to kind of make those things happen. And I'm not saying illegally, but you had to, make sure these kids weren't drowning. But they were having nowhere near the financial success they should have for what's required of them, the commitment to play that college football. Johnny Dean says exactly. I was one of those and barely kept up with school and work. JD, I know, and Johnny, you played football 1920 with Gerald Ford. I'm just kidding. I love you, brother. If you guys aren't catching the NFL show on Thursday nights with Alec and Alex Loosemore, Johnny Dean, and Misador and the Cats, then you're missing a great show. It's fantastic. Just never been getting off UPS early enough to be able to join up with them. Misador says Johnny Dean. Yup. Misador, Johnny Dean also says I wish we had this opportunity when I was in Colorado. If you guys. When I was in Colorado, yeah. Sorry, missed over on that. Ben Parrish says, Ray, you're back. Good morning, Ben. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in, Ben Parrish. As always, good to see you. Ray Sador says, no, Ray, it was illegal. Okay, I'm going to get off the NIL for just a second. I'll probably wave back to it. But I actually wanted to talk about something else. I got some paperwork this week. But yeah, talking about, okay, Tom Florio, I get it. You've been trying to put Tom Brady on the Galactic team playing for whatever with Michael Jordan and LeBron James for Space Jam 10 or the Miami Dolphins as ownership. I get that you hate him. It's at this point, it's a joke. I mean, because it's a joke that you do because you do. You just hate how he constantly owns the cycle. But he poses this week and posts on Pro Football Talk that Tom Brady overexposure. And I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm like right here. I understand what Tom's doing, okay? Because they made the comparison to Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. But remember, The Last Dance would have been awesome no matter when it came out, but it happened to come out right before the pandemic. And that may have saved my life that night. It may have got us through the initial shock of everything closing up and losing all those sports and being able to see that. I get that. And I get Michael Jordan. He's going to get Nike, his great-grandchildren will get payments from Phil Knight's children, great-children on Nike endorsements. I get all that, but the thing about it is that Tom Brady's just working the way he has to work it. Because, yeah, he's going to go in the Fox booth, and I made the comparisons a couple of weeks back to, how is it, being a coach for John Madden, who we lost in 2020, going from the coach to the booth and then owning Madden. And with Tom Brady, it's an established brand, a TB12 brand that he's continuing to push. But Cat's just having a good time. And maybe it's helping him transition. And until they show up on the field, until Tom Brady shows up on the football field, if he's playing, which he is in 2022, don't know if you've heard, I'm okay with whatever he's doing until a point of, and guys and girls, it's the people in the room. It's Jason Light. It's Todd Bowles. It's Byron Leftwich. It's the players he plays with. Now, as for Rob Gronkowski, I'm starting to lean that Rob walks, but then I know that Rob could, fly to Dallas and just show up at the stadium. And they've already given Otto number 87 and Otto and also they take it off, give it back to Robbie's playing tonight. I get that. But anymore, I just think that, again, talking about a guy's life, and we always like to portray or, make an image of Rob Gronkowski as that party boy, the Gronk brand, which is a brand also. And then no one's even close to being, in fact, we're needing more of that Gronk brand. Just starting to lean toward he's going to retire. And you see the Bucs, they address it through the draft, even though you can pose a 7th round pick or a undrafted free agent as you add a team. I get that. You have to have those numbers in camp. Looking for that diamond in the rough. So they didn't commit to a big tight end, and we still have Cam Brate. We still have tight ends on this team. We still have running backs that receive out of the backfield, and we still have buried the lead, one of the best receiving cores as we wait for Chris Godwin to continue recovering from that knee injury. If that's the way, I don't think it, because every time I say this, I see the philosophy where you can try, because I saw teams like Bill Walsh and the Niners and Mike Holmgren and the Packers and even Tom Landry and the Cowboys, going back to Don Shula and when they draft Dan Marino and the Marks brothers, and Mark Duper and Mark Clayton, all of a sudden they're throwing it. Before that, they were always a 3 yards in the cloud out of this team. And I see team. So if the Bucs decide, okay, Rob may stay, he's not going to come back. We got it. We covered it in the draft, and we got some. We see where we go. But we also have a heavy running back out of the backfield, wide receivers, work on that offensive line. Have $8 million more to invest and fortify. But at the same time, Rob shows up at Dallas at Stadium, wants that jersey. I get it. I'm not saying. I want to know what you guys thinking here. I forget where I even left off. Oh, here it is. Okay, Misador says, no, Ray, it was illegally. Me, I know. And you would know me because you played ball too. I'm not saying it, but we know it was done. I'm not saying it was done in North Dakota State JUCO. I'm saying that, what do I know? But I'm making a transition. I think I was making a reverse transitional argument. Johnny Dean says, Ray brought his homework today. Yeah, I did. So, yeah, okay, I'll keep transitioning since Johnny Dean says man in the arena. And, they crapped on that. That Mike Florio says he doesn't talk to. And what are you, Will Wilbon from ESPN talking about the Lightning fans here in Tampa Bay? Which, by the way, again, the Lightning are up 2-0 going for 3. Start maybe reaching to the back of that closet and getting those. Do I say it? Oh, I'm not going to curse brooms. No, I'm not going to curse them. But what they got Wilbon over here when they're talking about the fact that I forget the point I was even going to make there. So, yeah, so we talked about Nick Saban, talked about Jimbo Fisher, talked about Tom Brady, and no one's really commenting about, oh, Teresa, how are you feeling, darling? I could use you right now. Of course, Teresa and I have been working on doing a show together, so she can help me with all these comments, and we can kind of kick it up a notch so I can go a little more into my head with the live shot, but also still have someone to talk to. But again, I invited a special guest to come on here today. We'll see if he shows up. Alex Schumber says, it's been years since the weekend cup of Ray. Come on, Alec. It's either Saturday or Sunday. It's been a while since I did a Saturday. And let's see here. Let me go ahead and let me cut away just for 30 seconds. Stay tuned for this coming up in the 2022 Buccaneers season. All right, let's see if I got my comments back up here. Yeah, so also talking about a couple of things here. I talked about the Tom Brady, and the reason why I say it, but talking about the oversaturation of the Tom Brady brand, is that to this day, we're talking about May of 2022. I've never actually used the TB12 brand. I haven't even actually bought a TB12 shirt. I haven't actually, because Tom and I do lunch once a week every Tuesday, and you think that cat would have given me some merch by now, but he hasn't. But making a movie with the young ladies out there, Tom Brady 80, and he's going to be going back into the Patriots, and the girls are going on the road. The older ladies, like Sally Field and a few other actresses. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names right now, and they're going after Tom. We get it; it's funny, but Tom posts. He's always been that cool uncle with his posts and his social media, and we love it. And then by default, it gets shared 17 billion times because a lot of followers, and we get a kick out of it. I'm not tired of that. I can see where someone like I made the point with the Florio when he's trying to make his scenarios for what should happen with Tom Brady, because hey, let's be honest with you, we've seen it this offseason, and here in Tampa Bay, we've seen it since 2020. We saw it before toward 2020. If your brand, the more you're able to talk about Tom Brady, the more successful your brand is, because that's where a lot of the eyes are on. And the fact that it's still that way, but someone like Florio starts to pose it's already sure, and he said, Johnny Dean, you said man in the arena, he said, I do not know one person that says they've watched that. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but everyone I talked to has watched it, and we loved it. And then, of course, the thing was, I didn't get this, so help me out in the comments here. Hey, Matthew Quinn coming in here. Man, share the show, Matthew. I'm going to ask you a question. Matthew says, Gronk will be back with Tampa. I don't think he could play Brady. Especially first game of the season. All right, if he shows up right at the stadium. I mean, but Cat might be in great shape, if that's what you're saying. Alex Schumber says Mike Florio could shove his news where the sun don't shine. And that got me, share the show, guys and girls. Where was I again with Tom Brady saturation? Yeah, the man in the arena, help me out with the comments here. So something about, I'm sorry I didn't get this, and I think I may have heard something about it, but at the time I was paying a lot of attention to Tom retiring and then unretiring. But supposedly in the last episode of Manning Arena, we had to wait for the 10th episode because something with between Ian Rappaport and there was something going on where that's where they got the news of his retirement or something like that. Johnny Dean, help me out here. You know more about this than I do. Johnny Dean says Alex Guerrero will be here in the AM to give me my TB12 acupuncture treatments. LOL. You know, Johnny's there giving you that happy reach. I almost did it. That's for After Dark, Cup of Ray, not here on a Saturday from Fergs. Again, let me just wax a little bit. The Rays lose last night, 13 innings to the Baltimore Orioles, and I'm not pushing Baltimore over. I get it. They're supposed to. Every team's rebuilding, and you see it. But the Yankees are in first in the American League because they're winning. Well, they're winning every game, it seems, but they're winning the games they should against the teams they should beat. But the Orioles are one of those teams, and we saw it very first series of the season here. The Orioles came to town. That can kind of, jump up and bite you a little bit. So Rays losing extra innings last night. They're going again against the Orioles today. Hope they can lock that down. They beat 2 of 3 and then get out of town. I think it's their third game. Ooh, I should be right on that. So nobody's helping me out with the whole thing. What was going on between Ian Rappaport and anyway, so that was your little race update for today. Again, down here tomorrow, game 3. And I wanted to bring the shot today because most of you remember that the party deck for all of our Peter Blake and I and our Bucs pregame shows and our Tampa Apollo show, or I'm sorry, Orlando Apollo shows and our XFL, all of our shows we've done out here. But I loved it. And I wanted to emphasize again that if there's so many places out here and it's starting to get balmy, it's feeling like June. Although last night there was a real nice easterly coming, and it was nice coming straight up the road. Of course, I was in Seminole last night, so it's it's tropical. It's like Bahamas in July or something maybe, or I don't know, even humidity there. But it's starting to get humid. But the reason why I like it out here at Ferks keeps everything down. You got the fans moving. You got outdoor. You got your people getting their separation. Sit wherever you want. If you want to sit on the outside near the dog park, sit upstairs, sit around the back. Even though the Rays are out of town in Baltimore this weekend, you're up there on the party deck with Tropicana Field as your view. And I'll take a moment. Let me make sure my comments. Anybody, please. Again, oh, wait. Johnny Dean says, it's a damn sausage fest in there. Johnny, it's what? It's 11:48 on a Saturday. Of course, everybody, and Tristan and I were loving this because we're driving down First Avenue. I'm glad you said that, Johnny Dean. Always depend on you for comment. We're driving down First Avenue, and Tristan says, Saturday, coming driving on St. Pete, which we do every Saturday to come down here to Fergs. He goes, this is just like a go driving into a movie. And because you're driving down First Avenue where they got the new Sunrunner transit system going down from the beaches to the bay, and then up First Avenue North I take home, and that goes from the bay to the beaches. That's that fast transit system that's going to get people from all the way out the trade winds all the way down to the bay, even with traffic in less than 17 minutes, which you're going all the way from the beaches, no lights, no hassle, taking a free ride through Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority and getting down here. And then I go, yeah, the people, and it's eclectic. And I said, I looked ahead straight down First Avenue South, and I said, how long? It's about 2 blocks off of Beach Drive down here on the water, right off of the Dolly Museum, right about where a nice waterfront Race Stadium would sit. So Tony, so beautiful place to watch concerts. Figure out how to make it work. I know you can't play outside in Florida. I get that. I'm not gonna, but figure something out. Go back to the sale thing, but. There's a big condo. And I said, Tristan, how many floors do you think that condo is? And he looked at it and he went, 30. And I'm like, that's what I thought, 30. So again, the Sunrunner transit system, the big condos, all this development. And in fact, if you drive 2, 3, 4, all the way to 5th Avenue North and all the way down to 10th Avenue South, and this area is just dying. It's already being developed. And so the thing about it is that you got to imagine at least once in a while, Stu Sternberg turns over and, the investor and long-term thinker that he turns over in a cold sweat and realizes the development of a stadium and owning a team I know it's volatile to own a professional sports team, especially baseball. I mean, it's only been around for what? 2,200 years. I mean, Jesus played for the Jerusalem Braves. I get it. So it's going nowhere. It's going to always increase in value as you continue to work out the, contracts and no more, always going to have, disagreements between the players union and the owners, but television contracts and all this happening down here. But just from a developmental standpoint, with half of the rights for development of 80 acres across the street that Stu Sternberg gets, if the Rays are playing in Northeast Tampa, basically almost Largo, but if they're in the city, per the original deal with Tropicana Field, that would be crazy. But the point Tristan was making again was how coming down here, it's like a Saturday morning painting. And that's why Johnny Dean says it's a sausage fest. And that's because all my ladies are uptown with their gents shopping at the outdoor open market down here outside the Rowdy Stadium or the old Al Lang Field. And so they'll work their way up here, especially you've seen it. I come down here during March Madness tomorrow. Wait till you see this place. Of course, DJ Allen Mad McTavish right here. That's his booth behind the big TV right there. And the shenanigans he has going. That's why I tell you guys and girls, the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill, not only the best party place to watch Rays games, Bucs games, any of your sports, March Madness, and also bury the lead, the best wings with the best of the Bay wings they have and all the other food down here. The openness, the out here, the foot traffic, the fun. But this place just going crazy during a lightning watch party. Be the Thunder. Be down here. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Let me take another comment. Oh, Johnny Dean says, when are you going to get your real estate license and join the planning commission? Brother, let me just tell you why I did that. Share the show, please, everybody. I really appreciate it. The new mayor here in St. Petersburg, he throws it out that it's back on the table. You know, the stadium talk is back on the table when the Rays were given permission at least to start talking with Tampa, and, you know, Mayor Castor's over like, hey, I can make it happen. Who doesn't want to make it happen? What a team having a professional, the Rays in your city can do. But the mayor comes in and says it's back on the table. We're looking at it. And that's because, again, if you're talking about the fact that the teams, I'm just repeating the same stuff. Let me move on. I don't want to go there. You guys know where I'm going with this. Share the show. I appreciate it. Alex Schumber says no matter what they fix, I-4 traffic will always be the worst. Even Highway 27 is terrible. And, you know, they've done some crazy things, Alec, but I-4 getting across there, you got to plan it, going to Disney, leave at 5:30. It was like that in 1974 when we used to go to Disney. We get to leave early and get across. My cousin Gil got his place there, a special permanent luxury box in the sky above Raymond James. We went to Orlando when he graduated from the Naval Academy, and then buried the lead, took the trailer over to Disney Fort Wilderness, had a Teddy. You remember that? Talked to my boy Teddy today. Congratulations to Cale Gerler, graduated yesterday from someone. Congratulations to all of our 2022 graduates, the entire graduating class. My daughter's graduating from 5th grade, and she's moving into 6th grade at Madeira Beach Elementary School. Congratulations to all of our 2022 grads. Now, share the show now. You have to, because you know someone who has a graduate student, someone they made themselves that should see that to say congratulations. Share the show and share the love. Alex says, I miss the days when 27 wasn't as packed and I could get Alec. It sounds like Alexa getting my new Buick. Alec, get me to Disney. First take 27, get back over to 15, I-4 East. Alex says, hashtag let's go Lightning, 100%. Johnny Dean says, Ray could sell a blind man a glass house. I could sell an Eskimo a ketchup lollipop. Lollipop. Ketchup popsicle. Johnny Dean says, I remember when I-4 was unpaved. Dude, I remember. Okay, first of all, confession time, 2000, terrible events of 2000, of 9/11. And my daughter was just born. And it was so scary because they were just here. And I'm sure we all felt this, just like we felt, 2020. And even no matter how far our family and loved ones and friends were, where were we at that day? First of all, like the day that Kennedy was shot, which, again, I was 7 years still not born, so I don't remember that day, but I get it. But when that happened in 9/11, but going like 8, 9, 10 months later, of course, the theme parks were suffering, and we already had those premium passes. So my daughter Kate, we used to just jump over, boom, and we would do the right times, got really strategic about the times. But I remember when they had the fires, and who hasn't had fires where you live all across the continental world, because we've got Bucs Report followers everywhere. Fires were jumping I-4 and stuff, and we're driving over. Not, because, the traffic was going anyway, but, going over there. So, yeah, I get it when there was not unpaved roads. And that goes back a few. Again, Johnny, you and Gerald Ford at Michigan. Alex Schumber says, Rich's alumni 2014 Gold Boat. RCHL. Alec, I know this because I know you, brother. Help me out. Help a brother out, Alec. Alex says, RIP Wet and Wild. Dude, RIP Six Gun Territory. I don't even know if that was around when you guys. That was a place in Orlando. They used to have the fake gunfights, and they had a little, roller. My grandmother Loretta used to take us. And Alec, I'm gonna work it back here because you said alumni. You said RCHS alumni 2014 Go Bolts, yeah, and then Wet and Wild, yeah. Yeah, we all remember it, and it's like everywhere else, we're making these improvements to our traffic and getting flows going, and that Sunrunner traffic getting you all the way from the beach to the bay. And talking about, I'm just going to keep working it back to that, but let me look over my sheet. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Okay, it's news. I get it. Again, if you're talking Tom Brady or not talking Tom Brady, you're not being successful. And I'm going to keep talking Tom Brady, and I'm not successful. But if you are talking Tom Brady, and of course Ryan Fitzpatrick, little bury the lead here. Tom Brady's not a good sport sometimes after games. Oh my God, do you think maybe he's too competitive sometimes, and maybe he takes it too personally? I don't like the look. I get it. I think we've all been there. I can remember a Little League game, or maybe in high school when Hollins High, we were playing at St. Pete High, and the game ended in fisticuffs. They had a great player, an all-state running back, and we had a great player, all-state or a state defensive back, and they got into a fight, and both things escalated, and it got ugly quick, and we ran to the bus, and people were like actually rocking a little bit. It wasn't like, riots or anything like that, but I get it. In that instance, it's not that we didn't shake their hand. It's just nobody really wanted to shake each other's hand. We all wanted to beat each other up, but Tom doesn't shake Fitzpatrick. And here's the thing, guys and girls. I hope I get a comment on this. Oh, here Alex says, Ridge Community High School. Yeah, that's it, Alex. I know you, bro. So share the show again, please. So weirdest fact, and I know you guys, girls, saw this week, is that Ryan Fitzpatrick, former Buccaneer, former Dolphin, former Jet, former Bill, of course, that was the order in which he actually played of the 31 of the 32 NFL teams that Ryan Fitzpatrick played for in his career. But only team to ever beat Tom Brady. He beat the Patriots once as a quarterback for all three teams, with the Dolphins, with the Jets, and the Bills. And he says that after one game, I think it was the first time when he beat him as the quarterback of the Bills that Tom Brady didn't shake his hand. And I'm like, there you go. That's that, talking about that media cycle. I don't know, Mike Florio, you keep telling me if the Tom Brady is overextending that, or if the media, this is by no associate, Tom's not the one going out there, although it sure doesn't hurt, but tell me if it's saturated to the point that no one really wants to hear anymore. Alex says Fitzmagic. Yeah, and we know people who love Fitzmagic. I would have, the funny thing about Fitztragic, well, come on. And what do you think about the Bucs bringing in? I wish I had his name, guys. I have his name. I do have his name, but the tight end we bring in from Yale. And it just sounds so much like a tight end. Oh, you bring a tight end like you do a Cam Brady. You bring him in for Harvard. And, of course, the Ryan Fitzpatrick been in Harvard. Oh, that didn't even sound right. But you know what I'm talking about here. Oh, well, something. Let's go ahead and jump on this, since I jump all over the place, because I'm just waiting for you guys and girls to make comments. So I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about here on Saturday Cup of Ray from down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the I'm not even going to do it. Alex says, Mike Florio is just mad Tom Brady didn't shake his hand and has been mad ever since. Yeah, I mean, but, other than Bucs Report, seriously, one of the great places, and, of course, The Athletic and Greg Allman, and just some of the coverage you can get for the quick coverage. But, again, Bucs Report, you're going to get your news there. And that's what I love about being associated with this brand is I get my news. Not all the time. I'm not going to lie about that, but there are so many times where I get my news from or just from our sources, people we met and the communities we run through, having been associated with Bucs Report. We're part of other communities, which is kind of what social media is all about. And we're reaching out, and I'm getting pops, and we get pops. And if I have something that I can source or I can share without divulging, something I'm not supposed to, which I wouldn't do that, then, we can talk about it a little bit and put it out there a little early. And, that's why I love being a part of this community. But, Pro Football Talk pretty good. They're pretty good about it too. There are those few times that they'll actually beat Bucs Report to the heart, to the mat with a lead or a story that breaks. Alex Humber says in the Edge District of St. Petersburg, tight end Otton. I said Otto. It's Otto Graham. Yeah, great quarterback. Johnny Dean says tight end Otto. Right, Otto out of Washington. Husky. Going to that well. I'm telling you what. Are we going to see? I'm thinking. I know I'm all over the place today, but I'm got my head in this radio show I'm doing here at 1:30. But I just wanted to get together with you because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's May. It's the mental health awareness. And you guys have heard me say this before, and maybe I picked it up somewhere, although I don't know where I would have. I think I kind of made it up. Mental health awareness means it's time for us all to be aware of each other's mental health because we're all different. We have those days. Sometimes we get out of bed, and that's why the very expression, got out of bed on the right side today, got out of bed on the wrong side today. Having a great day, having a bad day, but we're all in those different places. And it shouldn't just always be about, this is where I'm at, you deal with it. It's supposed to be meeting each other halfway. This is where I'm at, but where are you at? Oh, you're there? Okay, we can do this. Or maybe we agree to disagree and don't go there at all. But be aware of each other. So again, mental health awareness, the month of May, be aware of each other's mental health. Watching George Carlin. Thank you, Johnny Dean. Oh, Kate Otten. That's why I love that. Kate Otten is the tight end. Thank you, Johnny. Ben Parrish says, just glad you're back, Ray. Do your thing. Us listening, we'll listen. Hello, Ben. I love you, brother. Okay, all right, we'll do this. But you got to share the show. Share it with someone and ask them to share it. Let's just see if we can get these numbers. Again, it's a weird time. It's like I went at noon on a Saturday, and let's see. I wish we could get your comments live because that's what we're trying to do here. We're interacting. What do you think about the name, image, and likeness? Do you think it's ruined college football? What do you think about Tom Brady and then Fitzpatrick with not shaking his hand? What do you think about Tom Brady having those days? And any of us, we've all had those days. Share the show, even if maybe next time they can join us live because they shared and they followed, and then they'll be hit with it, and we can continue working up this narrative. Ben, oh, thank you, Ben. And Alex says, any day I don't work is walking up to the right side of bed, Alex. Yeah, but aren't you still working? Checking things out. Taking Rich Strike at 85-1 for $1,000 in a Kentucky Derby in 2022. Alec, we're always working. Alec also says, has anyone seen Fred? Right, said Fred. How about what was it? Flat Stanley. We got to bring back Flat Stanley here on Cup of Ray here on his Saturdays when we do our Buccaneer game day shows this year, we'll bring out Flat Stanley and we'll have him every shot. We'll try to put him in, unless I get some like little corner and tighten the shots like this. And I'm doing one of these, I just got drafted in the 18th round by a team and I'm doing one of these shots where we've all seen those shots. And, boys are just hustling. Again, if they didn't have to work on that ball skill so much in college and also try to work on those scholastics, maybe they could take time to take some educational photography, work camera classes. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. That's it. Has anyone seen Fred? So, again, let me see how long I've been going. 35 minutes. I appreciate you guys sticking around. And if you're just jumping in, welcome to a special Saturday Cup of Ray from down here. So let's talk. We talked about the Ryan Fitzpatrick. Right here. I have the names, right? Yeah, Logan Hall. Let me ask you guys, girls, something about this. Let's talk about Ndamukong Suh. And I won't jump into it. I think that sometimes that's what I do. What are your thoughts about Ndamukong? Is it also one of those things where, okay, we get it, we boom, or then you see the Bucs draft Logan Hall and you look at a Jotron Shayanka and where he's coming, and you look at this defensive line and you got the outside, basically outside linebacker, but a, slim, tall, stand-up passer, maybe a 3 technique once in a while type of a defensive end or passer. That's like, what's Ndamukong play for? And it's no show of disrespect. Sometimes the good teams, you saw the Patriots do it for 20 years, make that hard decision and they move on. And if you're in a great shape, you can actually trade away and get a piece. I'd love to keep thinking the whole game keeps getting back together. And then someday when we have this after the 2022 perfect season and we drop the victory there in Arizona, 20-0, we'll be getting together for the next, 50 years popping champagne until the next team does it, which will inevitably be in 2022, the Rams, because the NFL is going to feel inclined to fix it. So Kroenke and his $5 billion stadium, come on, Tom took a helmet to the chin. He took a helmet. I'm trying to say it with a New York, Boston accent. And I get it. It's like the blood showed up. He's doing this and give him a second. It's like in hockey when a guy takes a high stick and they're like, and you're waiting for the, and there's blood, so he wasn't just poof, and he got it, and you get that stick call, but to turn around and call Tom for a 15-yard on sportsmanlike there, come on. And I'm not saying that was part of the fix, but I get that you're going to miss calls. I get that you're not always in the best position. I get that these kids are and some half your age, although you're in great shape. Zebras. I love what we're seeing with the Zebras in the USFL. Talk about this today. Johnny Dean, and me, Ben Cornett said, really, I'm finding it's so palatable. It was Johnny Dean said, does it be so much better with full stand? Yeah, it would, because that adds to it. And then takes me right back to 2020 when they were playing in empty stadiums. And you're talking about that USFL's goal from the first snap was to get to the second season first snap. And now you see the XFL getting in there with Disney and ABC. The USFL's in there with Peacock, NBC, Home and Garden, the Shooters Channel, Hunting Network, Weather Channel. Jim Cantori's doing broadcasts, making $37.5 million a year, calling those games on the weather. And then if there's a hurricane, you get double coverage. It's twofer. Alex says, come on, what are your comments? Help me out here. Alex says, small units will always keep you safe. Where is my special guest? Nobody's jumping in here. You know what? Hold on a second, guys and girls. I'm going to go ahead and do this again. I'm going to try this. Stick around for 1 second. I'll see you on the other side. I'm looking at the wrong thing. All right, Alec, share it around, throw it around the horn. Let's see if anyone else wants to get one. Anyone else want to get in here? Anyone else wants to get in here and talk with me? Come on, let's talk about it. I got one comment since I went to that. Doing some commercials, and I'm glad I did that. I want to emphasize the fact that little showrunner you did, which was done by Footage Bound Productions, the best wedding videography company in the entire West Central Florida area. Footage Bound Productions, if you haven't called, if you know someone getting married, you're getting married, someone's special day, it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot. You're taking it's something everyone can capture on the phone. You need the editor that breaks it down, puts it to music. It becomes just this glorious piece that you'll inevitably put on YouTube, which I don't know why you wouldn't. But Footage Bound Productions, but also these runners popping in with the game day, talking about the game day shows we'll hear out here on Bucs Report, and then the Cup of Ray. That could be your advertisement. Call Bucs Report. call the head guy at Bucs Report, call the crew at Bucs Report, the sales team, advertise with us, and then your commercial could run. And I could come back and talk about your commercial. You know what? Asking you shall receive. Bring into the show right now, my boy. You know him from Thursday Night NFL Edition and anywhere else that kid might pop up. Alex Humber. Alec, how are you, my friend?
Doing good, Ray. How you doing?
Good, brother. So let's just jump right into it. You're a guy, you follow the lines in college football. So even though there's an age difference between us, I know we're simpatico on a lot of our beliefs about football. What is name, image, and likeness doing to the college football game, to the college football sport that you know? And is it a good thing or a bad thing from, in your case, not just you're a professional handicapper, because you're not, but you're a good handicapper. You could be professional, which also I might have another special guest on. But what's NIL mean to you as far as what it's doing to college, the fabric of college football today?
I think it's more of players needing money in that aspect and them getting paid, because I think it was a report they had on NFL Network about it.
Right.
And talking to like NFL draftees, and they said that it was like a player from Alabama that used to play there, I think 2-3 years ago.
Right.
And they wouldn't even get paid at all. They had to get a $200 voucher every month.
Yeah, to get food. You had to depend on whatever they feeding you back at chow, if you made chow, because you didn't get caught having one of those, school moments you're trying there, having a school experience, and you might have a side hustle, a girlfriend, a guy friend, whatever you may have, and you're trying to get that with the education. You may miss that meal that they provide you, and now all of a sudden you've also got to find food to eat, and then to bury the lead, if you get any time to do something social, you need it. I get that, but Alec, is NIL and the name, image, and likeness, do you think, in your own opinion, that that's the reason why the transfer portal, what a coincidence that when the NIL got hot, right the same time as legalized gambling, the transfer portal actually became free agency, and all three are converging now. What is that doing to the college game that you think? Oh, let's go ahead and let me welcome Johnny Dean in here too before you answer that. Go ahead, Alec, you answered. Hey, Johnny, hold on a second there, bro. Alec, what are your thoughts?
Ooh, I think it's more of competition-wise.
Yeah, like parody. Parody.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Dean, thank you, Alec. Johnny, you played college football. You were a phenomenal football player back in the Gerald Ford, which I say that's actually a little before your time, but not too far out of the ballpark. But what do you think about all three of those avenues converging in 2022 and 2021 now, and what it's doing to the college football landscape?
Repeat the question.
Oh, my God. Hey, please. No, I'll get it. I'll make it short, which guys and girls out there who follow Cup of Ring know that that's impossible.
Impossible.
So all of a sudden, you had the Supreme Court passes name, image, and likeness, which we all agree that athletes, and Alec was saying, should get paid. But also at the same time, legalized gambling made a turn and is becoming as mainstream as the games themselves. And you bring it back around the third quarter or third turn, like with the transfer portal, basically now is just elective free agency. Now the players are getting paid, and the fact that now it literally is like professional free agency with no salary cap. What's the first thing comes to mind when you think about what that's doing to college football?
Well, all right. With the name, image, and likeness, the transfer portal had to exist. It had to, because now you're getting these guys who it helps the smaller schools that would never get a start athlete.
Right.
Because now you got like teams like Bama who are sitting there loaded with quarterbacks for the next 6 years or 7 years down the road, right?
Right.
And those guys normally back in the day would have, okay, we'll stay here and wait it out until I get a chance to get in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these guys aren't got that time to wait now. They got to go out and make a name for themselves in order to get the name, image, and likeness and get that draft notice and stuff.
Right.
And they're going to these teams who are, it might have been a second tier player at Bama, but he's a number one player at Humboldt State,
Right. Can you see me, Johnny?
Yeah, I see you.
I'm just entertained. I'm just dancing while the man is talking. Go ahead.
But
Johnny,
as far as the gambling goes, man, I don't gamble. I don't care for gambling. I've always thought it was ridiculous.
Well, where does all the and no, I get it, and I don't ever want to build. Most I'll ever do is do squares in a Super Bowl, and we'll do and I don't even play fantasy, and I love fantasy. But I just don't have the time to do fantasy. If I draft a fantasy team, I end up having Ryan Suckup at kicker. I've got Tom Brady at quarterback. I've got, my Tampa Bay defense.
Sorry, but you're in my fantasy league this year, so I don't.
You know what?
Gambling,
wouldn't it be awesome? What if I suddenly, and I wanted to point out that you got that Tampa Bay Bandits icon there, brother. When do they play this weekend? Because I was going to ask you this morning
at 1 o'clock
today.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll miss the first quarter and a half doing that radio show, this Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection, but I'll kick it down here again. Can you guys, did I bring a good shot of Fergs today? What do you guys think about the background here? Would you like to be out here watching a lightning, or not a lightning watch party, but a Buccaneer watch party?
Still a lot of sausage around there, man.
Yeah, there is. Well, then, what about you, Alec? Oh, I'm kidding. It's a joke. Get over it.
Wow.
So, yeah, fantastic job on the NFL. Alec, thank you. Oh,
Okay, I don't normally talk about this, but look at Alec here with his Cardinals jersey on.
I was going to say, he's representing. Tell us about the Cardinals, man. Tell us about what's going on with those St. Louis Cardinals in 2021, 22.
Surviving.
Yeah, you gotta have hope. But let me ask you this, and we'll talk. Johnny, don't leave us. I'll ask one baseball question, and I'll get him out of here because Johnny Dean, he loves to talk his baseball. Barely he doesn't. But are baseball teams ever going to
on Thursdays?
Do you call it the Cup of Ray ban? Because that would just be Johnny Dean to do that. Tell me, Alex, right now.
That's what Casper's there for.
It's the forbidden word on Thursdays. You're not allowed to say that word on Thursdays.
The forbidden fruit. Well, let me ask you, though, forget the sport itself, except for the fact of the national pastime, the 130 years of the Abner Doubleday, the ball being made of rock, and they were throwing it at clubs back in the caveman times. Are baseball teams going to depreciate in value? I mean, they may fluctuate like the market, Johnny Dean, but if you could jump into a team today, or you could put $3 billion anywhere else, but it had to be appreciating, would you take a Major League Baseball team?
No.
He won't take one.
Because he hates baseball. It was such a stupid place. It's like me asking a serial rapist. If you're walking, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not meaning to compare you to a serial rapist. But I mean, it was a setup question.
Thanks a lot, Ray. Thanks a lot.
Hey, it's not after dark, but it's Cup of Ray on the mean streets of St. Petersburg, out here in Central Avenue, just below 16th Street.
Though.
In the Edge District, the same thing. So talk about Tom Brady overexposure, Alec. Tom Brady, are you tired of the Tom Brady brand? Do you think he's overdoing it? Is it going to backfire?
I don't think it's going to backfire. It's more of him setting himself up for post-NFL career. Even though he already has the Fox commentating, you're always going to have that safety blanket in the backup.
I'm glad you said that. Now, Johnny Dean, let me ask you. I will tell you my feelings. If I could have
the full 20 years of Tom Brady, I would take every minute of it.
Oh, you ain't. If I could have 20 minutes with Giselle, I'll trade it all. I'm kidding. No, well,
I do have another opinion on that also.
But I'm going to ask you, Johnny. I'll get back to that. And don't forget to work it. I wanted to ask you. I thought that Tom Brady couldn't self-deprecate himself enough, but still provide insight, because I don't think it's a question of whether he can break down video. I think we all know that cat. We know he'd probably be a Hall of Fame coach if he wanted to do that.
Absolutely.
But what are your thoughts, though? Fox offering $37.5 million, doubling what Troy Aikman just signed with, and automatically guarantee him, Johnny Dean. What's your thoughts on that?
I know the media people that do that professionally,
right,
aren't happy with it. You know that, right? I mean,
yeah,
they dedicate their lives to being in the media, being journalists, and doing play-by-play. I mean, play-by-play. Ask Gene Deckerhoff. It's not an easy job.
All start up the middle. Hey, let me ask you this: Rondé Barber. I honestly thought Booger McFarland would never, and that cat's transitioned in the last 4 years to now. He's one of I still don't want him in that Booger mobile going up and down the sidelines, because that was stupid from the beginning. But Rondé Barber, we see him. You guys see him. We see him every year covering the Bucs preseason
natural.
Games. And Tiki was a natural on today's show until Tiki had some issues, which I don't. But yeah, why doesn't Rondé get some? And also, what do you guys think about the fact that Olsen, Greg Olsen? He's a solid number 2, but I don't hate Aikman, but I think Tom Brady's can be better than Aikman because he's more interesting, but I don't know if he could ever be Tony Romo.
Does he do that banner like that? We haven't seen that part of Brady yet. We don't know what he can do there.
They had the same thing with Drew Brees, and they put him they tried to put him as a side-by-side analyst, and that didn't really turn out as best as everybody thought it would be. That's why I think, like, the money-wise,
right,
it's not smart to give him that much money, because then that could backfire on their end. And it's like a hit or miss. He could be good at commentating. He could not be. But that's all on their hands in that aspect.
What if Tom Brady, through Ndamukong Suh, is friends with Warren Buffett, who's friends with the Ruperts who own Fox, and he's like, look, I need to get this Miami ownership thing, which, by the way, the NFL, that's one thing Florio gets right this week. I'm sure you guys read it. The NFL's, you can't tell a player, even in the future, you're going to have partial ownership to come play for a team. You talk about getting around the salary cap and not even being able to put a cost on that. But I forgot where I was going. We were like, I was talking about with the with the Miami thing, right? So Tom Brady goes to Fox and says, look, I'm never going to, I may do this, I may not, but get the heat off Miami. Just let's announce I'm going to come do this. Let's see what the public thinks. We'll have a year or two to come to an agreement or disagreement, although I think he still does it. But at the end of the day, he's also got a brand, him and his wife, that enough that if he can't be flying in a little biplane on Tuesdays to get to the place to do, because if you're not going to go early and interview the players at practices to both facilities or keep tape and have questions, then you're automatically going to come in and do a shit job, right? Anybody?
Yeah.
Just
I can see. I mean, I could see him more like on an NFL Network. To be honest with you, like what the same thing with MJD does. I could see him more of that.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather see him at training camps interviewing players, but like
I don't know. I'm waiting for next year and Tom Brady's first
Bad game. Don't say it.
No, his USFL game because he's going to cover USFL too. You know.
We have news breaking here on Cup of
It's
Ray
not
on Saturday.
News. It's just common.
I haven't heard this. It does make sense.
He's going to work with Fox. He'll be up there with Mike Robb, dude. He can be up there with Mike Robb on Fox.
And you know what? It'll be the highest ratings USFL game in history of the USFL when that occurs, and that'll be awesome. Do you guys agree that the USFL starts a little too late in the year? They should go like January or like kind of get started at the end of the Super Bowl so they can get a little run and get started into April and be done by May before hockey, MLB and NHL hockey playoffs start, and baseball is really starting to get at least a little bit above lukewarm.
MLB drops in like July because that's when training camp starts. And everything.
Oh yeah.
So, hockey ends around June, and then they have MLB dies around that July time frame because everybody starts focusing on training camp, which is normal though. So I would see it better for.
We got 7 more games.
February.
Five games in the USFL regular season, and then the 2 playoff games coming, and so you got 7 more weeks of it. And in the next 7 weeks is dead zone. It's the graveyard for football media. So that they got the season ending just right. You don't want to go up against NFL preseason because even NFL preseason wipes out everybody else.
Johnny, in 2023, when it's the Tampa Bay Bandits on NBC and it's the Tampa Bay Maidens, the XFL team, which Tampa's not going to get an XFL, but wouldn't it be like, Dwayne, to already? But we got our USFL Bandits, which takes us all the way back to the 80s and that. But it's going to all of a sudden now you're going to have 2 leagues competing, but we love the fact that there'll be player development in the XFL, and it's on NBC ABC and ESPN and Disney. And then you also have the league officials or Tom Brady, and they have that thing going on with sometimes these developmental leagues. Now all of a sudden bury the lead. It's also about legalized gambling and watching and selling advertising. But these are now going to become fun just for the fact that they're developmental leagues, and both of them are going to funnel up to the National Football League at the top.
That's why it's a 3-year. That's why the USFL has made it a 3-year process for these guys, man, with their contracts.
You come on, you know they're gonna be breaking contracts, though, Johnny, right?
No, it's going to be a fully developmental league, is what I'm saying.
No, I agree, but
you can't expect Reggie Northrup right now is ready for an NFL team. I don't know what happened with his attitude and crap at FSU, that got him knocked down.
He's a defensive end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 100%.
Rusher, but he plays in the middle. He plays all over the field.
He's the versatility across the entire defensive line, and you're 100%. He should not only be in a camp. He's above practice squad, or at the least there, which we probably will see him. Good stuff.
I can see him starting with the Bucs right now. I mean, Reggie Northrup's a baller, dude. For real.
Dude, I could see Jason Light having to deal with the Tampa Bay Bandits, and Todd Bowles is like, hey, Indomitian hasn't came begging to play for $1.5 million a year with a bunch of milli incentives, which I'm kidding. Johnny, what's the limit that you put, Johnny Dean? Quick question here on a Saturday from down here at world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. Right now, just a quick thought. What's the limit that you put on Indomitian says, I'll come back, and you want that depth, those snaps he's already, and what he brings to the table to this team, bringing the game back. What's the limit you set it at, JD?
Well, he got $9 million last year. I think he's still worth $9 million. If they give him $9 million, he'll come back. If they don't, he don't really need to. I mean, he's not going to take a pay cut. It's like he said. He said that, do you go to a job and then take a reduced salary? No, you don't. You work your ass off to make promotions, right?
Right.
So why would he take a reduced salary? He's a businessman, dude.
Well, Alec, is his phone not ringing? Is there one of the other 31 teams, a defensive-minded coach like Robert Saleh and the Jets, who made some really great enhancements to that secondary in 2022 draft? Is there a team within the division that might want to say, "Hey, Ndamukong, the Bucs, they might be long for you, but we'll give you this, and we'll give you a kicker on the back end that if you're still on the roster in 2023, it increases our incentives"? Or is it just one of those things where in Ndamukong's camp, you think, Alec, is this still people, I'm kind of waiting to see what I do here. I'm enjoying the Twins right now. I'll get back with you.
I think that's it.
Well,
actually.
before that, I saw reports. I think it started picking up steam yesterday or so.
Right.
Don't quote me on this. It's his sources.
Oh, going full screen because Alec is breaking news.
No,
I'm
that
kidding,
Aaron Donald might be retiring. He's leaning more towards that because of his contract disputes
Oh, man.
and the contract negotiations. So I can see him possibly going to LA. As much as the Bucs fans don't want to hear that, that could be one of the destinations. Not saying it's true. I'm saying that's what Aaron Donald's possibly looking at, retiring after that, only because
Johnny
of contract
Dean.
disputes.
If
Johnny
Aaron
Dean, hold
Donald
on.
does, if their
Go
Aaron
ahead.
Donald does retire, who's going to play opposite of Ndamukong? Because Ndamukong needs that guy next to him.
Well, and I get that because I was going to ask you, JD, is there a precedent for why Ndamukong would go back to the Rams? Of course there is. The Cat won a Super Bowl there for the Rams a few years back and was alongside.
They were second
championship
place.
game.
They were runner-ups.
Championship game. Well, because it wasn't the first year in a new stadium there, SoFi, so the NFL wasn't ready to throw the game yet. Do you guys think if they played the Super Bowl 10 times?
Do you realize something about that? I'm sorry. I'm going to pull a Ray here.
Do it all over, brother. That's what this is all about.
Do you realize that Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win was against the Rams, and his last Super Bowl win with the Patriots was against the Rams?
Wow, because the first one was against the Greatest Show on Turf and Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce and that, and Mike Martz and, of course, Dick Vermeil. And then the last one was against – because they beat the – do you guys really think Carson Wentz is burned up like that? And you talk about they're bringing a Foles in now to Indianapolis, which I think is a great idea to have a cat like that backing up Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's 72 years old, so you're not 100% sure he's going to be fine. He's a gunslinger. But – do you guys, what was I asking about Carson? Well, Carson Wentz comes from the Rams, and Detroit buys that contract. But I think that what the Rams have
Goff came from the Rams.
Goff. I said Wentz, didn't I? Wentz is now a commander or a commandeer or whatever Daniel Ruth,
Washington.
the gentleman.
Just make it easy on yourself. Just call him Washington.
Do you think that Goff is not possible to have success? I know that Matt Stafford didn't have it for years, but he also didn't have the coach that he has, and that what they're putting an emphasis on that defensive game in an NFC Central or NFC North, not Central, that suddenly looks like, sure, Aaron Rodgers is going to take another run with, 3 12-year-old receivers, but that might be a division where those Detroit Lions can make improvement in 2022, JD.
Goff and Russell Wilson both had the same problem. Russell Wilson he has more success than Goff, but they both hold on to the ball far too long, like 5-6 seconds apiece, and that hasn't stopped. So, I don't see Goff changing, and then he gets the Jameis Winston syndrome where he thinks he's got to win the game by himself and doesn't. He rushes and makes bad decisions.
But don't we think, though, when Sean McVay and Matt Stafford and their wives meet on the beach in Mexico last offseason and they have that menage a quadre or whatever you call it, and all of a sudden there's a deal being made for Stafford to go, don't you think that Sean McVay, he'd have still rolled with Goff in 2021, but, man, you had to jump to Stafford.
Goff was gone. He
really? Because he couldn't eat that?
You can't be hitting up on the coach's wife and stay on the team.
That's true. That's unconfirmed, but we do have we have no sources. But yeah, no, I 100% get it. Hold on a second. Let's work it back before I get on to something else. Tell me about, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, JD, because you've been inviting me, and I appreciate it. Alec, you guys on the NFL. Tell us a little bit. I'm not trying to get rid of you unless you have to go. Tell us a little bit about the NFL show and what you got, NFL and what you got going on here on Bucs Report, JD, because you guys are locking it down each and every week.
Well, we just decided to start. We're going to start because it is the off season for the NFL. We just can't continue to make up stories or dumb poll questions and stuff like that to continue talking NFL all the time. We're going to start breaking down college and USFL.
Baseball.
College and USFL.
We just started doing our college team picks and who we're going to start analyzing throughout the season.
Yeah,
okay.
Everybody on the show has a list of teams that they're going to follow this year, and we're going to keep everybody up to date with the college recruiting and prospects for future draft.
Do you think that with Jumbo Fisher and that best team money can buy? And Johnny, we didn't talk about this with Nick Saban. Boo ha ha. We feel bad for Nick Saban, but
I
we
don't
feel
feel bad
bad.
for
I don't ever feel bad for Nick Saban.
No, the Dolphins fans sure don't feel bad for Saban because he's never going to become he's not going to be the Alabama coach while he sneaks out of town on an airplane and becomes the Alabama coach. But Jimbo Fisher and that team, do you think they're going to be? Are they one of the teams that you guys were picked, or if you guys did picks already, or one of the teams you guys think to have success this year? They're in the SEC.
I can't remember. Somebody picked Dion's team. I don't know if anybody's got Jimbo.
Really? Ooh. Did you guys? Do you
I
love
think
Deion?
we all split. We're all taking. We're all going to follow Dion a little bit this year. Jackson.
HBCU and Jackson State. Love that historically black college university. Do you guys? What is this? I saw you, Satino Mill. One of our people we're friends with. Large groups we're all friends of. I'm sorry I don't have his name right now or her name. But we were talking about the fact that maybe he's doing more harm than good for for Jackson State or the HBCUs in general. Do you guys see that at all? Or, I mean, wasn't this one of the first things that let us see?
I think,
Johnny.
You want to talk to Alex about this because he's following all of those smaller schools, man. I think he's got Marshall in there.
Yeah, I follow.
A&M.
I have my list right here. I have my list. Wait, I have it right here. My teams are.
Share the show, everybody, please.
My full list are just my small teams.
Just give us a couple. Let me hear some of the teams you got. Now let's verify here. These are teams that you hold on, Alec. These are teams that you are going to see success, or these are teams that you think are going to finish at the top of their respective conferences.
No, this is teams I'm just following for the season.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
So I have Oregon, Florida Atlantic University, Florida A&M, Florida International, Bethune-Cookman, Boise State, ODU, Norfolk State, and TCU.
Ooh.
Yeah, the HBCU colleges are well covered
and I'll let Johnny do his team list.
How about a Grambling? Did you have a Grambling? I didn't hear. Did you have a Grambling in there? Of course, the alma mater for Doug Williams. But we lost this week. Calvin McGee. I know you guys saw that, and his experience and having coached there, and former Buccaneer tight end. Remember Calvin McGee, Johnny Dean. What a monster he was, and a phenomenal player at a time that some of that was a little bit light and scarce here in Tampa Bay, huh, JD?
Yep, absolutely it was.
I know Johnny's list is a little bit more in depth.
Go ahead, Johnny. Tell us about it.
Oh, my list is kind of weird. Let me see. I'll get it up here real quick. I got Wisconsin, Maryland, Terps, UCF.
Wait, Wisconsin, Maryland. Hold on, just a little bit slower. Wisconsin was strong last year.
Yeah.
They always find a running back. They always seem to find a running back, which I pose is because they always find an offensive line.
Yeah,
Maryland,
the Terps.
Okay, go ahead.
I got the Knights, UCF, Towson Tigers from Maryland, Ohio State, Pitt. Of course, I gotta have Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Indiana, Minnesota, and Northwestern.
Minnesota, I like, but none of the U, Miami, or no.
No, we didn't take any of those teams actually.
But why? I mean, why would you exclude yourself?
These were the teams we just picked out. Each one of us wanted to follow, and none of us wanted to follow those teams.
Well, that's just your problem.
Ben Cornett's got Miami and FSU, but they were like afterthoughts.
Johnny, what'd you think about Ben Cornett coming around with the USFL? I know he's been around. You can't have football on and not watch it if you love the sport, because that's what that sport is. That's what that is.
I live for football, man. I watch high school football right down.
Bro, you're pumping. I love. And that's what we're covering down here. We got upstairs the Boca Ciega High School baseball team. Last week, my alma mater, the Hollins Royals here, my old high school, they actually came in. They won districts, and they came back to be on the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection just because they were getting that mojo. Literally, guys, they came in to get some of that mojo. Love the fact. Well, so let's work it back to the NIL before we get too crazy off the beaten path here. Love the fact that we still have our high school programs, our preps. We still have our little leagues, and even those have started. Kids are training with personal trainers in little league and then playing 7-on-7 off season, and they're still going. But we love the fact that you still have that at the high school and at the level. But are we gonna ever, Johnny? Is it gonna wear away from college? Is it gonna wear away from the Terrapins running out on the field or touching the gold turtle, which they don't do? I'm just making that up, but before they go on the field. But as we continue to just, put down 50 on Maryland to win the game, we're going to go ahead and hopefully that second string quarterback who was the number one recruited quarterback, 5-star athlete last week, he'll transfer to FSU next year. Is that going to suddenly now be all about it? Are we going to get away from the dun, 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 Saturday, Dick Ebersol going out live to the stadium, or is that just always going to be there because it's part of the glitz and glamour?
It's always, I think that's always going to be there because,
Okay.
all right, if you want a fan experience, a good football fan experience,
Right.
the number one fan experience in football is college football, hands down. If the Towson Tigers, which you probably never heard of,
No.
they sell out every game.
Right.
It's incredible. It's like that Army Navy, which that Alec can address. He's going this year. That is spectacular game, and the spectacle of the game and the whole atmosphere is completely different. It's not that marketing ploy is there for
Right.
the fans, you know, but it's not a generalized market. It's not like NFL where they're pushing it across the world. And
well, because it's always been the NFL. These are pay for play, but also seems like the Buccaneers since 1976 and worst to first and 0-26 and drafting Booker Reese and Trent Dilfer and Vinny. Anyway, there's history there too. But we all agree, kind of. I'm hearing from you guys, so we can get off this NIL, that we don't ever think that we're going to see NBC cut to a far shot of the stadium there in Notre Dame, and all of a sudden we're going to think we see touchdown Jesus holding 2 bags of money. It's always going to kind of stay that way, but they're going to have to litigate this and make sure they keep this right. Or is the Wild West way the way to go?
It's the alumni, man. The alumni will keep college football. The spirit of the school is what you go there for. That you're following that program because that's the spirit of the school, and you can't. It would be so hard to destroy it. Putting gambling. If you put slot machines in a school, and then you're worrying about it. Okay.
Wait, what'd you say? Dave? What?
If they start putting slot machines in the hallways at the school, then you got to worry about it. All right.
All right.
Other than that, I don't think it's a bother at all.
Well, let me ask you this, Alec. So these players are getting covered by the alumni, and the alumni are sponsoring through sponsorships, which, again, it's advertising and stuff like that. The colleges are still making all their money from their television contracts. The networks are still getting all their money from the coverage. Maybe they'll add another 150 channels and cover every game, which if it's on a package and it's your Houston State, I think you said, Johnny, you want to watch them. Was it Houston? You said Houston State.
I did.
Houston.
Hello. Was it the college you said? I've never.
Townsend, yeah.
Right. Townsend? Okay, anyway.
Townsend.
But where's all that television? The television money still goes to the school. The alumni are taking care of the players. But all that money from legalized gambling that's going to be coming out, is that just stop at the network? Or are the colleges going to see residuals on that and start playing coaches like Nick Saban $30 million a year because he gets the lead this week and they bury, Alabama, which I would pose even, you always say no news is bad news. The fact that Bama led this week, and if there was anyone else they haven't already recruited, which buried the lead, they probably have the best recruiters in the country. You just put yourself on the front pages for a whole week, and you actually may have made people feel a little sorry for you. Like maybe it's like, maybe Coach Saban's right. Now all of a sudden that the money's making the landscape equal, then, I want to go to Alabama because it's prestigious, and Nick Saban's going to take care of me and not demand of me to be a paid athlete like everywhere else. I don't know if there's a question in there. Go ahead, Johnny.
It is equalizing. I mean, the NIL is equalizing the talent of the schools. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. It gives it, and not every school has airtime. You can't see a Towson game unless you're there. You know what I mean? Once in a while, you'll see them play a bigger school, and then you'll get to see them. But that's it. It's not like it's aired every day.
Right. Well, are there built-in check marks for this? Is it because when the players start struggling, because if they're at a college, still taking up those seats, still at that school, and I don't have my daughter's at the Ringling College of Art and Design, and she's the most.
Well, you can't gamble at most colleges anyway.
No, Johnny. What I'm saying though is that we're paying you now to play, and I don't care if you've got to study for an exam that this is one the team can't help you with, and your entire scholarship, your eligibility relies on it. We're paying you to be good on Saturday and be ready. Get to the trainer and be ready for Saturday. So does it start to go? I mean, maybe we're going to get some of that satisfied through the USFLs and XFLs and stuff, but doesn't it seem like there has to at least be some rules in place? Let the colleges, let there be parity in the NCAA, but at the same time, there's got to be protect protect the experience for our student athletes. Protect them to be able to be students and athletes. And I know it.
Yeah,
but
I
if
don't
they're
see
going to
what
get,
the gambling has to do with it at all, because there's rules already set up against the gambling around there and stuff.
well, no, but someone's making that nut. I mean, somebody's making all that money, and you know what? Let's put it all into making communities
That's
better.
always been around. That has always been
Well,
around.
yeah,
When it was illegal. It was even worse because there was no control over it. There was no oversight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, Louis the Bookie made his nut on a Saturday.
Louis the Bookie did, and maybe the people he's gambling with, taking the money from, is winning or losing. But that had no effect on any of the college programs.
What about taking some?
You get the star quarterback and the star wide receiver and running back. The rest, defensive players, you go with linebacker maybe, or a good edge rusher. But the grunts in the line, the people that are working, it's not impacting these people at all, dude. They're tight ends and stuff, although they're getting more star power now.
Yeah.
But when your tight ends are getting more star power, guess who's losing their star shine? And that's the linebacking core. They're not stars no more like they used to be.
I see you've thought this out a little, Johnny. You're right. I mean, at the end of the day, everything's a wash. Even if it's, you're not going to make it, maybe you're a little burnt backside because you're not making as much as another offensive lineman or not getting the same opportunity, which they probably are. They're trying to keep some semblance of civility there. You don't want the left tackle is going to be making $1.2 million in NIL from his different sponsorships. And what's that right guard going to be making? I mean,
how many times have you ever went to a college game and seen people standing in line to get the right tackle or left tackle sign their autographs? You don't. Not until they hit the end.
That's true.
What happened, dude?
How many times have you seen a team win the national championship that didn't have a lockdown left tackle? Unless it's like back in the day.
And that same left tackle's going out to the fence when the people are asking for autographs, and the people are going, "Who are you?"
Hey, Alec, have I got any new comments in here? By the way, let me just get this. Ben Parrish says, I'd rather have Sue than JPP, more reliable. I would have JPP as a coach in the locker room just to keep the young guys straight and keep their mouth shut when we're on the road. We remember that experience a few years back. We love that. No, go ahead, Johnny. Just jump in.
Throughout his career, if I have to compare careers, I'd take JPP's career overall.
Oh, heck yeah.
I wish we had
played through many injuries.
Huh?
I'm saying JPP is more like he can have a broken shoulder, he'll still play in that game.
Oh, you ain't kidding. JPP, and he was like that at USF as a Bull. Go Bulls. He was like that.
Absolutely.
That's why the Giants take him. He wins a championship in New York and almost wins another one, but 100% love that. And Abraham George Vatconcherry says, hey, Ray, let us know what time you go live in St. Pete. We'd like to join you on a show in person. Brother, I got the soundboard and the mics. I'll let you know, my brother, and you come down here and we'll do it live. Definitely. Ben Parrish says, hopefully Logan Hall. I wasn't in your way, guys, was I? All right. I wasn't in your way, was I? All right, brothers. Hey, go Bolts. Yeah, great. Thank you. Go Bolts.
I got to cut out.
Hey, Johnny, I don't think Ray knows the news that's about to happen in 2023.
What's happening in 2023?
I'm going back to Florida.
You coming back? Oh, wait. I wasn't looking at the camera. I was looking at it over here.
You do know, Ray, that you're the only Floridian on Bucs Report.
That's why I am the OG, JD. Actually,
you're the only one living in Florida currently. Put it that way.
That's why I'm kicking it on the live on the streets, bringing it down here to the Berg on a Saturday afternoon. Is like, because you gotta bring power to the people on a Saturday. What do you guys? Mental health awareness. What does mental health awareness mean? What does mental health awareness mean to you, Johnny Dean? And be honest. Let's be serious for a second. You don't have to go too deep. I don't want tears. It's not Oprah. But what is May's Mental Health Awareness Month? What does mental health awareness mean to Johnny Dean?
It means that people like my wife get recognized.
Go ahead. Say it, brother.
That's it. I keep my sentences short. I don't get speeches.
Yeah, you do. That's why I love you, Johnny Dean. Alec, tell me about that for you. I'm going full shot. Give me your, what does mental health awareness mean to Alec?
I mean, being in the military, kind of like, it's more so like as of recently.
Yes.
It's more about taking care of yourself more than anything else. Being in the military doesn't really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's more about yourself. As long as you're good, that's all that matters.
Yes.
Because in the military, you're just a number. So take care of yourself and don't care about anybody else.
And I always thank you for your serving, Alec. And I service Alec for your serving.
What did you say? And don't care about anybody else?
No, man. I mean, not in that aspect. Like, because like they want you to like focus on like everybody else.
What you're trying to say. I understand.
I got you, Alec. Now, what I got from it was Alec said,
he don't give a shit about nobody.
What I get was Alex said, we all need to do a checkup from the neck up. And I'm watching George Carlin, Johnny Dean.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into that. You got to have a
So
place.
I got to
put
cut
your
out here,
stuff.
Ray. I got to get my.
Oh man,
US
okay.
stuff. I
Go.
gotta get
That's right. Storm on in 15 minutes. Keep us posted, JD. Appreciate you, brother.
all right, later, bud.
Oh wait, Johnny.
What?
I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna ghost me. I thought you were gonna tell us where to find you, man. Tell us about Thursday nights real quick, because this show is gonna be watched worldwide for the next 2 days and go to 10,000 views. Tell them and share the show right now, please. Go ahead, Johnny. Tell them where to find you.
Oh, you're lucky I couldn't find my ghost.
Oh yeah, you were looking for it, Casper. So I love this. Every time on a show with Alex, I'll go, "Hey Johnny, one more question," and then boom, he says Casper, and he disappears. And Alex, first time it happened, Alex is laughing loose more. And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "That's Johnny's thing." He goes, "You say like the ghost. What's the ghost name? No, you say
Casper.
ghost, Casper." And all right, Johnny, get out of here, Casper.
All right, man. Later.
Oh man, I was gonna cut him out, Alec. So yeah, for me, mental health. I'm don't mind me finish this thought. Mental health. Oh, I'm just chopping it up here at the end. Mental health awareness means we all need to be aware of each other's mental health, right? Because brother checkup, sister checkup, and that's what it's. Because it's that common ground, right? It's like I'm here, you're here, I'm here, wherever we are. And if sports is that medium, if that's what we can talk about, but find that common ground to find that algorithm or that area where we're all communicating, the world's just going to be a better place. And that's why I like people to take an extra moment, because I always end the show, but I'll say it right now. Alec, what do I end it with about caring about people? Give me that line, Alec. You got it. He doesn't have a clue. I got you. You want to try it?
No, I got it.
Everyone needs to know someone cares. In May during mental health
Make
awareness.
sure you're the one that tells them.
Out of the ballpark. Make sure you're the one that lets them know. Just let them know. Reach out.
That's what
because
it is.
it may not be your time. It may not be their time. But it may be someday you'll be the one that needs that. And they may need it now. And they get that pop, that check. That what are you doing? What does it take to ask? I'm not trying to commit to you. I can't put you on my taxes. I can't feed you. How you doing? Do that during May. Let's have a great mental health awareness. Any more comments in here before we jump out of here, Alec? Do you see?
There was that one right there.
We don't need AB. Yeah, we know about that one, bro. I think we're loaded wide receiver. Look for Tyler Johnson to step it up this year. Who do we still have out there? Do we still have
Yeah,
Julio?
Sky Miller.
Well, no, about the Bucs,
free agency?
yeah, free agent Julio Jones.
The
The Titans. Who was the other? Oh, brother, do it.
Free.
None of the three of them have a world champion. None of the three have a ring. They don't have one of the beautiful rings like that. Tom's going for that. What's he going for now? His 13th ring. You got Julio Jones. Anyway, one of those guys. Do you see last minute? They just like, you know what? I'm in shape. I'm good. Keep me. Maybe you could trade me if another team pops up, but sign me to a contract and I'll give it a run for a ring. And if something else pops up in the middle of the season, you can feel the need to trade me. Alan, you think that might happen?
Julio Jones, Will Fuller, T.Y. Hilton,
T.Y.
Cole
Hilton,
Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Deshaun Jackson, Odell Beckham,
Deshaun Jackson,
Marquise Goodwin, Adam Humphries.
So it's Odell. For me, it's Odell or Julio, right? I mean, but one of those receivers that, you talk about chemistry of a team. You may not have the entire crew back like we did in 2021 as they went for that second consecutive. But, you talk about that chemistry of a locker room. And, of course, the narrative's always been, Alec, that Tom will rein anybody in. But, all those list of receivers, when you read Julio Jones, or I also read London, the new receiver that the Falcons drafted out of USC in the first round in 2022. I think Mike Evans is already the best receiver that has those skill sets. London seems to have a little more speed, and he's like, 15 years old, so he'll jump a little higher. But I'd still take Mike Evans 7 days a week and twice on game day as far as for a 50-50 jump ball, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You hear Adam Humphries or Cole Beasley, even if you're talking about you talk about an OBJ, I'm thinking we already got Chris Godwin, not knowing exactly. You think Chris Godwin, you think it's like, because we remember, go back to the game against the Saints when those cats were headhunting and playing hard. And I don't think ever wants to maim someone, but they were tackling quite questionably that day as far as their aggressive nature, weren't they, Alec? That when Godwin goes and that knee bends a little bit the wrong way. That's
the Bounty Gate 2.0.
Okay, I was going to say Bounty Gate. I didn't want to. But so you talk about Chris Godwin, but all the receivers out there, you talk about what the Bucs and a Tyler Johnson on this team and a Jalen Darden. Do you think Jalen Darden, of course, he played special teams last year returning the ball. Do you think Mickens is back? Mickens has been a solid veteran, played out in Arizona for Arians, but is it time for to get on to for a Grant Stewart, for a Joe Dirt, or no, I'm just kidding, but for one of these other younger defensemen, linebackers that have been in the system for a few years, or does Minter, because now you got Darden returning those kicks, did he show enough, or do you got to keep Mickens for both the linebacker position and also for returning kicks?
Oh, what was the question?
I forget. It probably wasn't good anyway. Hey, brother, it's 12:45. I'm going to jump out of here in a few minutes. I want to thank you so much for coming on here. Tell everyone where they can find you. I have a feeling it's going to be similar to what Johnny just said.
You guys can catch me on Thursdays with the NFL edition with Johnny, Ben, and Alex. Thursdays at 10 o'clock on Bucs Report. I think it's I forgot the air page that Johnny has, but it's mostly on all those on. Mostly you'll be seeing out here on Bucs Report on Thursday.
Right. Keep going.
Well, that's about it. You can follow me on Twitter at Alec S at 863.
.com. .com. Alec, brother, thanks for coming. I'm glad you jumped in here, man. It lets me talk. That's what these comments are about, brother. Good to see you. I'll see you real soon. All right, bro?
No problem, Ray.
Take care, Alec. All right. So another comment. Parrish jumps up in here with a comment. BS, they did a cheap shot on Godwin. They were going low. And, not a good comparison, but I remember Johnny Lynch wanted to put his own brother-in-law tight end for Chicago already. Wanted to put his own brother-in-law in the next week. I get it with that aggressive nature. Same way with the way the Lightning are playing, blocking those shots every time Stammy goes down and Cooch, and of course Vasilevsky standing on his head. But that Lightning that going down and blocking all those shots, 21 guys blocking shots, and like 5 or 6 of them heading off into the locker room. You're wondering, like they said the other night on that coverage, don't take that boot off, because you take that boot off, it's not going back on for a day because that swelling is going to start immediately. What that team is to go for a third consecutive Stanley Cup championship, what these veterans are willing to do. And they shook up the Panthers. You got to stay with your foot on the pedal. It's going to be impossible for the Panthers to win 5 of 6. I'm just kidding. Why did I even say that? In fact, it's not 5 of 6 that have to win 4 or 5. And yeah, there's my math. And I'm still trying to adjust to a 17-game schedule in 2022. That math, they're going to be 8-8. No, they're not. They're going to be 9-8. So before we get out of here, I got another. If you all want to comment, I got a few extra minutes. I'm not supposed to meet till upstairs. Share the show again if you're catching this later. And don't forget down here at World Famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill for tomorrow's Lightning Watch Party. Of course, you'll have the Rays and Orioles game on in here as always. Coach Mark Ferguson always locking it down here. So walk in here, find a spot, get near a fan. You got the music going. Oh, Alec, are you just still in here? You just like listening, don't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to check something on my phone.
Okay, brother. Hey, take care. Good to see you again. Ben says, great show, Ray. Thank you. I'm watching George Carlin, and I think this kind of goes with mental health awareness. Maybe a little bit. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll tie him back in, but George Carlin, America, My America, no, American. God, I wish I'm watching part 2. It came on after it was Friday night. Judd Apatow directs this movie, 2-parter. Part 1 was last night. Part 2 is tonight, but with HBO Max, I get to watch it when I get home. And I love what George Carlin talking about stuff. And it was when he comes back in the 80s, early 80s after 70s, and he'd already had a really great run. He's talking about stuff. I'm not going to do that right now, but if you haven't had a chance to watch that George Carlin special already, definitely do it. I think Johnny Dean will tell you it was fantastic. But before I jump out of here, let's just talk briefly about the Buccaneers 2022 schedule. I haven't been on since then. So, I was off, took a couple of weeks off, and was doing a lot of other stuff. Actually, I was being lazy as heck. 5 primetime games, expected that. Would have taken 6, 7, whatever the NFL would have been able to do without putting undue, which already with the nice getting that bye week in week 11 after the trip to Munich to play against the Seattle Seahawks. Bucs first ever game on Christmas Day. They've played 14 times on Christmas Eve, because when it falls on a Sunday, especially with Christmas on a Monday or what have you. But first ever, they travel out to Arizona to play on Christmas Day, which is kind of nice. It's like different. Again, first time ever. So Bucs fans, wrap your head around that idea. Clear all the wrapping to the side. And while the kids are still keeping themselves busy, if your kids are 2 to 4 years old, they're playing in the boxes that the expensive toys came in. If your kids are 10 to 15, they're taking the toys into their cub or cave somewhere. You won't see them again. Enjoy that. First 2 games are on the road again in 2022. That's kind of different. The first one at Dallas. The second one at, help me out here. Green Bay, right? And then really, that's really it. I guess I'm running a little long and I'm coming up against it. And rather than perfectly time it out to 1:30, I'm going to go and get out of here. again, just do me a favor. If anything about this show you found interesting, again, mental health awareness. Everyone needs to know someone care. I'll finish the show with that. Talking about the name, image, and likeness. Keep these thoughts. I mean, if you got an opinion about this, catch me on one of my after darks or one of my Sunday morning shows. We'll have a cup of coffee. We'll nestle next to the fire. Now that June is getting here in Florida, you want to get next to a fire with a cup of coffee, maybe a blanket over your shoulder, and then sweat like you're in some kind of a sauna out in the middle of the desert. But we'll talk about the NIL. We'll talk about the Tom Brady overexposure, because that's one of the great things about this is that these conversations, these opinions, these thoughts, and what you can share and we can talk about, we all have them. They're like noses. Everyone has one. Hope you guys have a great day. Check me out again. I'll be on this app coming on in just a little while on the Tampa St. Petersburg Sports Connection with Mike Rickard, Oscar the Big O, Ben Botham, of course, back from college. Our relief pitcher, literally played relief pitcher at the college level, former Seminole Warhawk. So hope you check that out, and I hope you guys have a great Saturday, and maybe we'll see you again this weekend, maybe not till next weekend. Enjoy the USFL Bandits, the Tampa Bay Bandits at 1 o'clock. Enjoy the Rays today against the Orioles, and definitely enjoy Game 3 from down here at the watch party at the world-famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon.